Hello folks, welcome to this new tutorial in Java J2E series, and in the first series we covered all the basics of servlets, and now we'll be visiting JSPs. And JSPs are basically Java Server Pages. As it's written here, JSP technology is used to create web applications just like server technologies. JSP is basically an extension to servlets, and JSP is a technology for developing web pages with dynamic content with which Java code can be used in HTML pages by using special JSP tags. As this definition indicates that in JSP we can include Java within our HTML code. Earlier in our servlet tutorial we coded many HTML files, and now we'll also write some Java code in that HTML file only. The combination of that HTML code plus Java code gives birth to a new technology that is JSP, Java Server Pages, and it makes pages more interactive, more dynamic. So why should we use JSPs? There are many advantages of JSPs, and some of them are like extension to servlet. JSPs are, or the JSP technology is the extension to servlet technology. We can use all the features of servlet in JSP. In addition to, we can use implicit objects, predefined tags, expression language, and custom tags in JSP. So we'll discuss all this later on when we'll be moving to this JSP tutorial. So right now you just have to think that JSP is an extension to servlet technology, and whatever we can do with servlets, and we can do it with JSP technologies. And JSP is fast development. We do not have to recompile and redeploy. Like whenever we used to make some changes in a servlet, we have to redeploy the code and then recompile the code, but JSPs are free from this, and we do not have to redeploy the code until and unless it's necessary. And if the JSP page is modified, we do not need to recompile and redeploy the project as it has been written here. And if we modify any JSP page, we do not have to recompile and redeploy the project, and the servlet code needs to be updated and recompiled if we have to change the look and feel of the application. So this is the one of the advantages of JSP, and less code than servlet. And with the implicit tags and implicit objects and our custom tags, we do not have to write more code like we used to write in our servlet. So these are some of the advantages of JSPs, and you'll get a more clearer view once we'll start coding applications with JSP. So now we'll be moving on to the life cycle of the JSP. Like servlet had life cycle, it had init method, it also had service method, and then it also had a destroy method. Similarly, we have life cycle of our JSP, and the JSP has like 4 phases, and first is compilation, next is initialization, then is execution, then at last cleanup. Now we'll be discussing these all. First of all, JSP is faster than servlet. Now how JSPs work? Now this is our client browser, and now we are over the internet now. And this is our server. And in server for JSPs, we have a JSP servlet engine. Whenever we make a certain request to access a JSP, the request goes to the server, and in turn we get the response. Like we used to access the HTML page, if you run any HTML code, like first of all your domain name, then your context root, and at last you'll get the name of your HTML. Like suppose you are accessing index.html of your project, then at last it will be the name of the resource which you are accessing. So this .html or dot then extension defines what resource you are accessing. In JSP they'll be similar to just HTML, but JSPs have extension .jsp. Whenever we'll be accessing a resource or a JSP resource, this .jsp signifies that we want to access a JSP file. So whenever we'll be accessing a JSP file on the server, JSP servlet engine will have the responsibility to load that file. And this JSP servlet engine is there inside web server, and we'll be using Tomcat web server to process our JSPs. There are various other servers which can process JSPs. And now JSP, suppose now we have created a JSP. Suppose our JSP is index.jsp. And if we are accessing this JSP for the first time, then what is the process of execution? First of all, server will load the file, load the JSP file. The steps are server or this JSP servlet engine has the responsibility to load the JSP file. And JSPs are internally converted into servlets. So whenever we write a JSP and before execution of this JSP is internally converted into a servlet. First of all, when this request will be made, then a servlet will be carved out. Suppose the name of the file is index.jsp, then we'll have a file called index.java. This will be a servlet which will be made from index.jsp file. And the logic I'll tell you later how and what code goes into what servlet methods when the process of execution is there, when the JSP file is converted to a servlet. Then first of all, it will be having index.java file, and this will be a servlet which will be converted from the JSP code written inside our JSP file.